everyone.
I'm back, baby.
It's J.C. Lee.
I'm great. Everybody else sucks.
Oh,
no. It's every nightmare I've ever had.
Excuse me?
It's time to check the link.
Pretty crazy, huh? But it doesn't matter because none of this has anything to do with the show.
you know what? You just made the list.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time. Really? No.
What's up, you ducks? It is week 18, I guess kind of, as we do the most accurate fantasy football show in all of the lands and the worlds and universes and multiverse and not even another universe of, I was about to spoil What If. If you haven't watched What If on Marvel, please do, because it kind of ties into the whole movie coming out. But anyway, in case you didn't see, I finished number 2 because the king for this year, Jeff Ratcliffe, leader of the Rat Pack, is number one accuracy ranker. I put it like this, Jeff. I kind of feel like, I don't know if you saw week 1. I think I was 9th or 10th week 1. And it's like, it's out of the gates. We basically was like a 400 hurdles. And I hit that first hurdle. And then you and Mike were gone. And I'm trying to chase you down the entire year. And I'm like breathing down your neck. You know, you felt me breathing down your neck. And I'm getting close, but it's just, I hit that first hurdle. I couldn't come. Jeff was number 1 for at least half the year. I know that because about, what was it, week 5 where you took the spot, and then it was you and Mike going back and forth. But big up, congrats. It's why I wore this t-shirt. I'm not arguing. I'm just telling you why I'm right, because, I mean, like, Jeff, let's just celebrate us, Jeff, just for 58 minutes or whatever, 50 minutes, 48 minutes. It's just us two. Let's just go. You're great. I'm great. Everything's great.
Yeah. I will say this. We've been in this. This was my 11th year. And I didn't really
longer than me.
Thought I would ever win it. Yeah. First year I was in it, I finished 6th, and I'm like, oh, this is easy. It's not. It's not easy. And, we've had, obviously you've done tremendous over the years. John Paulson has been amazing over the years. We had Sean, who was dominant for a stretch there that we'll never see again. And every year he's up there. Another top 10 finish for him. Justin, who wasn't even in it this year, rode off into the sunset, winning the Super Bowl.
Are you going to do that? Are you not coming back next year, Jeff?
I'm not going to say anything right now, but probably not going to happen. No, I'm going to probably continue on. But I will say I've had, I have a personal list of things that I wanted to accomplish in the industry. And this was one of those things that it's not really setting in just yet that I can check it off the list. So huge. I'm glad to have had this time with you every Wednesday, though, because I think this meeting of the minds is really helpful. And it is the most accurate show out there. We have that. There's no denying that right now. Congratulations to you as well. Great year. I think, honestly, if you hit the hurdle at one position, otherwise you would have won. Yeah. And it was early at quarterback. Otherwise you would dominate.
I was surprised that, honestly, like, this isn't, I'm not trying to take anything away. Like, again, once for everybody out there, make it clear. I know I'm saying it tongue in cheek, but big ups to Jeff. This is a huge accomplishment. And like I said, it's not just that Jeff is number 1. It's that he was number 1 for a long time. There was a few weeks where he and Mike bounced back and forth towards the end, but to be 1 or 2, and then I got 2 at the very last week. I mean, I was holding that 3rd place on for a while, but yeah, that quarterback really killed me. I started off with like 98th or something like that. I was surprised I got all the way up into the top 40s at this point. I was coming on strong. I was trying, but it's that gimpy lit. You know what it is? It's like that Greg Jennings, like the Madden clip where he like blew his hamstring. He's like running down the field like that whole way.
Put the team on his back.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Penny put us on his back 100%. Little sneak preview. There's going to be some trivia in this show, some DFS in this show. We are going to talk week 18. We're going to look back, just some thoughts of like ranks and stuff like that. So a lot to digest. It's not just week 18 because I know a lot of you are here not playing week 18, but maybe you're playing a one-off week, and there are sites you can do that on. There's playoffs, which we'll talk about next week. We'll do some playoff rankings, Jeff. We'll talk about that. The week after, to give everybody an idea, we'll do our way super too early ranks, which I already know you're working on. Are they out already, or they're not out
after
quite
the
yet?
show? They're done.
Okay.
I was ready to write them up, and then that news broke, and I can't be like, oh no, I got to write the article. I'm not going to say thank you, and I'm not going to like say something here. So it got pushed back for a good reason, but it'll be up today at ftnfantasy.com.
Is Rashad Penny the number 1 running back?
Of course.
Of
and
course.
actually number one in every position, ahead of Cooper Kupp at wide receiver.
Oh, nice.
Tight end out there. Yeah.
Nice. Very smart. Of course, because Kyle Pitts sucks. Let's make that clear.
Oh, yes, he does.
So what we got going for everybody, let's talk Week 18 for a moment here. Oh, by the way, FTN 20% off with code all in, and make sure that's where you can get a lot of Jeff at Jeff Ratcliffe, the CBS show, as he mentioned, Sirius XM. If you just like digest Jeff and you haven't been listening to me to tell you to digest Jeff this entire year, you can catch him now that he's number one. Maybe that's another feather in your cap people actually listen to instead of listening to me. But theathletic.com/best TV, all capitals, first free month. And actually, Week 18. You don't do the ranks. I'm sucked into doing the ranks, Jeff. It is free. Like, even The Athletic acknowledges Week 18 is insane. We're not going to make you get behind the paywall for this one. You can go see it for free. So everybody out there, we have the Packers. I can't even talk anymore. Packers, Buccaneers, Eagles, Cowboys, and now the Bengals have officially basically said they're resting because Joe Burrow said he's not playing. Joe Mixon has COVID. Probably was going to be a question anyway. You would assume no Mixon, no Joe probably means no Chase, no Higgins, no Boyd. Probably Uzama's out there to whatever degree. So the Bengals are taken care of. We heard Aaron Rodgers kind of dance around it on Monday Night Football with the Mannings. The toe's been an issue all year long, Jeff. If you are playing Week 18, do you expect anything more than a quarter from the Packers?
I will say no, and it's not because I am telling you what I think, feel, or believe. I'm pulling it up right now as we speak here, but there's a very easy way to tell how much we would expect him to play. Go to the sportsbook.
Third string? Oh, sportsbook. I thought you were going to say
right now the Packers are 3.5-point favorites against the Lions, where they probably are ordinarily 10.5, 11.
I was going to say 13.5.
13.5, whatever. Doesn't really matter, does it? It's still not 3.5. That tells me everything I need to know. I think it's a preseason game style where, Matt LaFleur, they're preparing as if this is whatever. Say whatever you want. They'll go out there, they'll get a couple series, probably put some points on the board, and that'll be that. I think that's exactly what we're going to see here. So I can't use any of those guys with any confidence. Now, I did do projections over at FTNFantasy.com, and I was tempted to just not even project Rodgers, but I'm going to project him for a couple series, and that's it.
Well, so where I have Rodgers, just to give you an idea, because you said it, they could put some points up. I have him right around Derek Carr, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, like low teens. Like, you risk maybe he gets 2 touchdowns before he leaves the game, but he's also in that range where those are safer options, but they're unappealing safer options. So how far... you're not doing rankings. I don't need exact names, but I'll give you an example for me with Devonte Adams. Devonte Adams, I put him way down at 22. You would never see Devonte Adams at 22 ever. And Jeff, I don't care if you say 22, but the names by him are Mike Evans. I don't know if he plays a full game, especially not being 100%. And then the other players who will play, Russell Gage, Terry McLaurin, those kind of names. And I think that's like where you might risk Devonte Adams getting a touchdown before he leaves, but you could argue that he should be even lower.
Yeah, you could. You could argue he's not playable. You're watching right now, and you have – I mean, literally, how long has this been said? This has been said since before I was in the fantasy industry. I don't know how far back it goes to not have your championship in the last week. But when do we reach the point where leagues say, you know what, you're right? Because I know – Jake, you know this as well. There are this is the way we've done it since 1992, so therefore we're not going to change. But seriously, you had Devonte
I got one of those in the comments. 35 years, Jeff. I got one of those in the comments.
And I guess it's talking to a brick wall with that person because they're never even going to remotely entertain any other idea than their own thoughts. I wish I knew everything, Jake. I do. But regardless, you had Devonte Adams. Devonte Adams has been a huge part of your push here, and now here you go. You have Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, if you started your playoffs 2 weeks ago, right? So this is the third week of your playoffs, championship round. Joe Burrow got you into your championship, and he's not going to play. Were this a normal week, he would play very likely through this knee injury. He's not going to play because he doesn't need to. It's a terrible setup. It's really just a terrible setup that now you're coming down to. And I know people say, but Jeff, it's now skill. You have to go out and pick up. No, it's not, bro. You had skill because you had the good team earlier in the year. Now it comes down to a crapshoot.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing too. Is what you kind of just said is the skill. Well, you cannot when you go into your draft, you can think about the people who might rest in Week 18. Oh, really? That's what we were playing. We were planning for the Eagles to have nothing to play for because they were locked into a wild card, and that the Bengals would pull everybody, despite having the number 1 seed. Still a slim possibility.
Yeah,
that they would be. Oh, everybody out there was planning on not having Bengals in Week 18. Like, just that statement by itself. So, like, I laugh at that as well, because every single year, well, you can plan for Week 8. No, you cannot plan for Week 18.
Just the simple fact of planning to be in your championship, though, to me, I think it's borderline insane to head into your fantasy draft and think, oh, well, even if it's a Week 17 championship, oh, he has a great matchup in Week 17. It's like, bro, you could run into the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase combo that buried everybody, or Joe Burrow, T. Higgins combo that buried everybody the week before that. Or, heck, you could have Dak Prescott in your 2-quarterback Superflex League fall into your lap in the 5th round, and he puts up a freaking dud in Week 14, and you're done. Can you tell what happened to me? And you're done.
And you're toast. All right, so let's try to parse through this one. The Buccaneers. It's Tom Brady. So, and we've seen Tom Brady meaningless Week 17s multiple times. Granted, a lot of those were with Belichick, but he's a competitor in and of himself. This isn't the normal Tom Brady situation, though. He's lost 8,000 running backs. He's down to now Le'Veon Bell, everybody, for your championship, quote-unquote, week. Le'Veon Bell is out there. He's got Mike Evans, but Antonio Brown left basically the NFL. So he's down Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, a questionable Mike Evans. I know this one we don't have as much clarity because I saw Vegas for this one at least, and it looks like they're still trying to straddle the fence a little bit. I lean towards a quarter for these guys. Where do you lean? Again, we don't know for sure, but where do you lean, Jeff? I don't think Brady and Evans and Gronk get it past the first quarter.
It's tricky because there is one other thing at play, and it is something we have to consider. I guess 2 separate things. One would be incentives, which not saying that for Brady. But that is
Antonio Brown doesn't have his anymore.
Yeah, right. That is a factor this week. The other factor is the record book. Now, it would take a Joe Burrow-like performance for him to top Breeze Manning because they're 1 yard apart for the single season record. But he, with a normal game, would best his previous career high and very likely position himself 3rd all time. So there's that. He needs just 10 yards to be the 2nd player in NFL history to have multiple 5,000-yard seasons. Drew Brees has like 1,000 of them. But there's that. He also has, and I think this is maybe just me thinking this is neat, the fact that he could, like a golfer who shoots their age, he could throw his age in touchdown passes if he had 4 of them. That's a lot, obviously. And it's not a big deal if you're in your 20s, but if you're 44 and you throw 44 touchdown passes, that is something. So I don't know.
I can't even shoot my age on 9. Come on, Jeff. I can't. Seriously.
Shoot your age at 9?
On 9. I can't shoot 9. My age on. I can't even get my age on 9.
I shot under my age on 9. This
really?
Year. Yeah, Betty. Yeah, I played a lot. Played 20 times. Yeah, I had a 37 one. This is an easier course though. Put me on a tougher course.
I'm basically a bogey handicap. Plus 18.
Bogey makes it fun. And even a bad day on a golf course is a good day.
But that's still not my age. I'm still not shooting my age on 9. I can't break my age on 9. You're asking a lot, man. Well, you're asking me to almost shoot scratch.
I'm talking about the grandpops out there, the great grandpops out there, You're 72 years old and you shoot a 72. That's freaking awesome.
For anybody that doesn't know, it's Week 18. I'm going to go off on a tangent anyway. For anybody out there that's like, oh, I know somebody who shoots scratch. He'd be a great, nobody out there understands the level of scratch when guys you play with versus going to actually try to play competitive golf. It's basically, it's not even going from college to NFL. It's like trying to go from middle school football to the NFL. It is beyond the most enormous leap you've ever seen in your life, just to be clear.
The top golfers in the world are so ridiculously good. But, any professional athlete is so ridiculously good. But those top golfers are insane what they can do. It does drive me nuts. Here's another tangent. When people say player X in the NFL sucks, it's like, no, they don't. They're in the NFL. They are ridiculously good. The worst player in the NFL is still in the NFL. They're ridiculously good.
Did I ever tell you about what I had? So I had like a couple buddies that I watched football with regularly, and there was 4 of us that day. It was me and one calling the other 2 stupid because the other 2 legitimately looked us in the eye and said if we gave them 10 attempts, they could complete a pass in the NFL.
Ooh.
Like, they're like, we could get like an arrow route to a running back. I was like, no, you could not.
You don't know how fast these rushers come at you. It is insane. Here's a prime example. Just go back, watch Ian Book play. That's all you need to see. And this dude was the winningest quarterback in Notre Dame history, and he looked like a scared little lost child out there thinking, oh my God, they're coming at me from all angles at lightning speed. Yeah, no, you can't.
No, freaking 6'8" long daddy long neck out there can't even get more than 24 yards in a game. You think you're gonna? No, you give me time in the pocket and an arrow route to a running back. Like, shut the hell up. All right, two more. I talked to the Eagles. The Eagles also have a COVID outbreak happening. Obviously, if you get news, Boston Scott, Jonah and Howard, you know what to do if they actually play them. They have nothing. They're a wild card. They can move from 5 to 6 or 7. Like, they're actually, the funny thing is, they're already clinched, but they're behind the 49ers because of how the divisions have broken out before that, so everybody knows. But so 5, 6, 7, they probably don't care about that. Wouldn't be surprised with Hurts' injury if they rest, but that one will be worth monitoring. The Cowboys is the last one. The Cowboys are the Buccaneers because they could play for the number 2 seed. There's a lot of talk from beat writers saying this team wants to get right before they head into the playoffs. Do you feel like this is basically everybody out there is telling us the Cowboys are going full strength this week?
Yeah, and Mike McCarthy gave that classic answer that people who are not in the playoffs during the playoffs give us in fantasy football. I play to win. So, which always cracks me up. Why don't you play to win in October and November? But regardless, he said they are playing.
Maybe if I would have played to win at quarterback, I could have beat you out, Jeff.
They're playing to win, and actually, it is significant. The 2 seed is significant because if you get through the wild card round, you then get another home game. That's big.
You avoid the Packers to the very last. Well, if they win, the Packers
unless
win.
What happens last year happened. Yeah, exactly.
And now you got 2 home games potentially. So yeah, I think the Cowboys. I feel more confident about the Cowboys playing a lot of their stars than actually do the Buccaneers. Honestly.
Yeah, I should also throw this out there. I had a buddy text me asking if Antonio Brown to the Cowboys was actually a real thing. This was something that was created by Mike Tannenbaum, as far as I know. And Mike Tannenbaum now at this point, what's that? The Christmas guy.
The Christmas guy.
At this point, Mike Tannenbaum has a website that he has with a couple other people, including Joe Banner. It's called the 33rd Team, but it's not like he was plugged in here. I think he more or less said they should go after him. But I can't see any team in their right mind after a player literally took off his shoulder pads and his shirt and ran off into the sunset during the game who would ever want this guy, especially after all the red flags. And plus the fact that he's still technically on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, they still haven't cut him yet because they're trying to work out the legalities of trying to get some of the salary back for what happened. Even if we got 100% confirmation that he was ticked off that the team was trying to force him to play hurt, like, even if that's the case, it's still the 2 wrongs don't make, like, teams are still not going to be like, okay, they tried to force him to play. Okay, maybe he would have sat on the bench. Then you see a team maybe say, okay, Antonio Brown was in the right. You still don't do what again, it's the 2 wrongs don't make it right. You can't walk off the field like that just because, you could have just stayed on the sideline.
And teams do have medical staffs that do operate independent of the coaching staff. It's not as if the coaching staff goes over and says, hey, you got to get this guy in. The medical staff will say no. Now, some of them are stricter than others. The Green Bay Packers historically have been a very strict medical staff. Remember Devonte Adams? Was that this year, last year? It all blends together. But he felt like he was good to go. They didn't clear him, and he kind of said something like covert on social media. If Antonio Brown really wasn't good, you don't go to an independent doctor. Your team physicians will not clear you. So right. I don't know. I don't think he has a leg to stand on. I think there's also a possibility that if he doesn't show up, set you up for that. If he doesn't show up to practice, which I don't know if he did today, he was in his right to do so. Then there's a rare designation of left the team.
That would have been some popcorn. Like see that one happening.
I mean, he could have showed up.
the fact that Mike Evans tried to stop him, like, it's legitimately, like, come on, like, that was just so. All right, that aside, let's talk about his teammate Le'Veon Bell. I'm not gonna, again, we're not gonna go through ranks. This is a different way. I'm gonna come at you with something we used to do on the waivers show, and it was a different version. It was the worry report I always did with Lauren. It was 1 to 5 Ducks, 5 being the most worries. So now I'm gonna flip it around. 1 to 5, your confidence level. If you are playing somewhere in week 18, what's your 1 to 5 confidence level if you have to start said player? Le'Veon Bell, 1 to 5, how confident are you in him being a week 18 starter?
3.
3.
3.
Right down the middle.
Right
Can't
down
get
the
you
middle.
to
Because he's
4?
a flex option. He's an RB3 for me.
Who did they bring in? Did they bring in anybody yet?
I didn't see any transactions so far, but that could happen.
Because I know Carrion Johnson was picked up. I saw that one. This is to throw out there for the Carrion love. Who did he get picked up by? I'm trying to remember.
I didn't see that one.
I don't know. All right, so then I'll go to the next one. I'll check in the meantime. Is not the Patterson everybody might be thinking of. It's the other one. It's Jarrett Patterson. Now, obviously, this is twofold. You get 2 answers on this, Jeff, because it's Antonio Gibson doesn't play because Washington says, why risk it? He was activated from COVID today, from everybody that doesn't know. So if Gibson plays, do you still think he's flex-worthy or potentially any value at all? If Gibson is out after what we just saw Patterson do, how confident are you?
If Gibson is out, and this would be due to injury, he's got a multitude of injuries, hip, still the toe. The hip was the thing that apparently was bothering him before he landed on COVID. It would be a 5. This kid is an ultra competitor. We saw him take advantage of his opportunity. And let's be clear about this, that week 18 can be a great week for a lot of these guys to showcase themselves if you do truly believe in yourself. This is a kid who obviously has a pretty impressive resume. 8 touchdowns in a single football game, 400-plus yards in that game. And then last week, every step of the way, he's proved the doubters wrong. So I would have a 5 on him. If Gibson goes, it would go down to a 1. I really think that the way that they've done things means Gibson would touch the ball, this is a technical term, Jake, a buttload, and that would mean limited touches for Jarrett Patterson, unfortunately.
Okay. So Carrion Johnson was picked up by the Eagles. So let's touch on them real quick. Let's say no COVID clear for Howard and Boston Scott. Boston Scott and Jordan Howard were the answers before, and Kenneth Gainwell was not the answer because Kenneth Gainwell can't block. The Eagles know that, and that's part of the reason that he would be split version at best. If it's down to Carrion and Gainwell, this isn't a confidence one. It's just which would you start between the two if you were 4? Again, you're desperate, but it's week 18, everybody. You don't have Joe Mixon. Well, that was a different situation. But anyway, point being, Carrion Johnson versus Kenneth Gainwell. Just which of those two would you take?
Kenny Gainwell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because he's been
with the team. Yeah, he does have explosive upside. Yeah, pass pro is the issue, but the receiving chop's not the issue. Certainly very good in that area. Right. Other than Najee Harris, he's really the best receiving running back coming into the league this year out of that class. Now, it wasn't the greatest running back class in the history of the league, but I thought he was a better pass-catching back than Michael Carter, for example, coming in. I would lean him, but he'd still be more flex-worthy than actual RB2 territory.
I definitely agree with you on that one. So last one, this 2 weeks in a row. One was because of injury that happened, but that was the question is if he would see similar workload, even with Raekwon Armstead being active behind him, is Dare Ngumbawale. He got the workload last week, so 1 to 5. Can I get you to a 4? Can I get you higher than Le'Veon Bell with Ngumbawale?
Touch volume wasn't particularly impressive. He just bailed it out with a touchdown, which is important, but I don't want to lean on that.
He was the lead.
He was the lead. Only 31 snaps, though. Only 31 snaps. So how much can they do offensively? Who's going to be their head coach? I mean, I think that's the biggest question. We already have seen who they're trying to interview. Jake, did you see the clown thing that's going to happen this weekend?
Yes. I saw that.
I'm all for it.
For everybody that doesn't know, is because they are keeping their GM. Well, you know what? I don't know how much hate he deserves anyway. Trevor Lawrence, the drafts haven't really been much of an issue. He has put some talent on this team. You got James Robinson undrafted. The ETN thing, you probably think Urban Meyer had a good thing forcing that to happen. So I don't hate the Jaguars so much for that. For everybody that doesn't know, they're calling the whole situation a con. They're calling him a clown for keeping the GM bulky, right?
Yeah, but I mean, the CJ Henderson thing though, that's pretty bad.
Sure, but again, that's where I was like, how much influence did you let Urban Meyer have for that? Like, we don't know. Like, I'm just kind of thinking of it going outside the box here, Jeff. Just thinking from the outside of saying, like, you brought in Urban Meyer. I have to feel like the conversation with Urban Meyer before you even brought him in was Urban was sitting there going, I want a lot of control on roster decisions. That's just me. Just thinking, like, if you're going to draw him into the NFL out of retirement after sitting on TV, getting paid millions just to spout his opinion about college football games, I'm just thinking he probably had a lot to say, like the NBA head coach I can't think of right now that left the Bulls and went to Minnesota. Tom Thibodeau, like that kind of situation. So slight pass, but yeah, I saw the situation there. By the way, Rashad Penny, do you know where he ranked for running backs from weeks 14 through 17?
I'll say 3.
1.
Even better.
He outpaced Najee Harris at number 2 by 13 points over that stretch, even with leaving that one game. And Devin Singletary was 3. David Montgomery 4. He pulled it again this year. He said it was going to happen. We actually said that on this very show, like about the middle of the season, was watch for that to happen. 5 was Aaron Jones. 6 was Sony Michel. That is not part of the trivia that I'm going to have for you, but I'm just you made me think of it because
that was not how we drew it up.
No, that is not how we drew it up at all. Wide receivers, real quick. There's only 3 actually 2 in a situation I want to talk about. Braxton Berrios at this point, is he just there? I was going to say, is he there Cole Beasley? But Cole Beasley hasn't been Cole Beasley in a while. Is he basically the new Cole Beasley at this point?
Well, I always thought he looked like Wes Welker, the way he plays and just the overall the physical appearance of him. I mean, he just looks like Wes Welker to me 2.0. And now he finally has the opportunity. He's been a pretty decent special teamer, but got the opportunity. And this is what I love to see, Jake. I love to see it with any of these guys. You get that opportunity, like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Somebody asked me, should I trade him away in Dynasty and sell high? I was like, no, this guy's going into his second year. Oh, well, he only really did that because TJ Hawkinson and Swift weren't playing. It's like, no, he seized his opportunity. Now he's going to get more opportunities. And I think that's the same case with Berrios. Berrios won me a lot of money at DFS. I had heavy exposure, 40% exposure to him and 35% to Zay Jones last week. And that was all that really mattered. So, yeah, I think this is going to continue. Zach Wilson likes him. That's a good thing.
Okay. All right. Well, then this next wide receiver, I'm going to give you a guess. Let's see if you can get around the number. Where do you think Laquan Treadwell was since week 13?
Because I looked very closely at this game, and I'm like, is this finally happening now that I have him on no dynasty teams anymore? Going to just throw out a midpoint. 25?
Oh, 29. Very good. Okay. Very good midpoint.
All right. Yeah, I figured it was probably in that range. All right, cool.
Sandwiched between 2 guys who played 4 games, and Mike Williams and Mike Evans. 2 Mikes, actually. Still, 9 points per game. He hasn't hit 15, but he hasn't dropped under 8 since week 13. And I only knew this because I kept saying in the waiver article every single week, it's like, I know he's Laquan Treadwell, and I know he's only a wide receiver 4, but as a wide receiver 4, he's in play, right?
Yeah.
How about this? A 1 to 5 confidence level on him. Is he a 3 because he's a wide receiver 4?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
You can give him, like, Lauren likes to give him eggs. If she thinks you can give him like 2 and an egg or 3 and an egg.
An egg?
Yeah, like it's the next duck. It's like a half of a duck. You don't want to split. You don't want to cut a duck in half. So it's an egg. It's a duck egg.
So I always take, from the level of concern, I always take it from the NFL.com guys, the around the NFL guys. They have what's called the P scale.
Okay.
And is it just a little dribble or are you full out wetting your pants? So I guess I think in different ways. But, okay, so a half. No, I don't think I'd go a half. I think a solid 3 for Laquan Treadwell. Get him in there because why not?
With a little bit of duck pee?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, last one before we get out of this section, basically week 18 scenarios. We'll still, I'm sure Jeff is not going to ignore you out there, but I do have week 18 ranks. If you want to check them, it's unlocked. It's for free right now. But last one, the Patriots situation. This has involved the fact that Nelson Aguilar's missed some time. Tendrick Bourne just recently came back, but Christian Wilkerson goes from practice squad to the number one targeted wide receiver for the Patriots. What do you say of Christian Wilkerson? If Aguilar's back, does Aguilar even come to play for you, Jeff? What are you putting into Wilkerson at this point? Is he the Week 18 waiver darling of the 2021/22 season?
It's so weird to say who when it comes to these players. Like, even the deep names, I'm like, yeah, all right, I did him. I just did not remember his name at all. And who was it? Who was that guy? Was it Matthews? Was that his name? Seattle receiver who came out of nowhere and then was like big in the playoffs, and then that was it, and we never heard from him again.
The Eagles won Jordan Matthews?
No,
or a different one.
He played again. He was in one of the Super Bowls, and he was going to win the MVP. Then Brady, of course, won it.
Wait, you keep talking. I'll look it up.
I forget his name.
Because now I'm curious.
Anyway, it feels like that a little bit, where this guy just comes out of nowhere, practice squad to contributor. But honestly, you could see it. Mac Jones was looking his way.
Oh, Chris Matthews. It was
Chris Matthews.
Chris Matthews. Yeah.
He didn't have a very lengthy career, right?
No, he did not.
Did he go to the Canadian? He maybe went to the Canadian League and played up there.
I mean, it's very possible. Oh, no, he played 3 seasons. Seattle twice. Well, and then split that season with Baltimore, and then was out for 2016 and then back for 2017.
Yeah, seize the opportunity, though, and that is exactly what we're seeing with Wilkerson.
It's just opportunity.
Could
to answer the question from Mr. Nice Guy, yes, the Patriots have something to play for.
Yeah, they could be the number 1 seed. They could backdoor their way into the number 1.
They could, and if they lose, they could still be a wild card. That's why. It's just we're looking at potential. That is, even if the Chiefs win, we're still talking about winning the division. That's still up in the air.
They can win the division and get the home field for the wild card round, which is huge.
Yeah,
they want that.
Yeah, them versus the Bills situation. So yes, definitely a lot to play for. All right, a little bit of trivia for you, Jeff. And, of course, I was trying to think of a game. I tried to get Chris on here because you can't really play a game. But I'm going to do this actually trivia to see how much you can guess, because these are some tough categories. But it's relevant because these are going to tie into player, what we think of them for this year, maybe for next year, but kind of takeaways from this. So I have 6 names, Jeff, 6. We're going to play Family Feud to get 3 strikes. Sure. See how many of these names you can get. The top 6 running backs this year, minimum 50 rush attempts. But the top 6 running backs in yards after contact for the season, minimum 50 rush attempts.
Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor.
No. Jonathan Taylor's number 5.
Derrick Henry's not?
Nope.
Derrick Henry's over 4 yards after contact per attempt.
Not for 50. Nope. I can pull it up.
Let's see then. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt.
Let's see. Nick Chubb was number 2, not Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt was up there for a good chunk of the season, too.
Kareem Hunt is number 22. Derrick Henry was number 56.
Yeah, because he was up there for a good chunk of the year. I don't know. I'm using FTN data. I don't know.
So you got 2 strikes and you got 2 names.
Okay.
I don't think you're gonna get any of the last 4. That'll be a giant hint for you. I don't think it'll be any of the last 4.
Devontae Booker.
No, I was gonna say don't look at the chat either because Lee Ving just mentioned one of them.
Oh, okay.
Elijah Mitchell was 6th at 3.75. So that's 6. Number 5, like I said, was Jonathan Taylor. Craig Reynolds at 3.96 was 4. Samaje Perine at 4.02 at number 3. Nick Chubb, 4.13. Number 1, Rashad Penny, 4.18 yards after contact for that brief amount of time, but he did have over 50 rush attempts in that time. That's the name I wanted to ask you about, Jeff. And I know, look at it twofold here. There's kind of a 2-part question for you. Is at some point, were we always right about the talent? And then the second part of this question is, what are your feelings for 2022? Obviously, free agency and draft and all that type of stuff, we're going to have these off-season shows to talk about that. But as of right now, the talent finally hit. Laquan Treadwell kind of finally hit. Cordero Patterson definitely already hit. Is there some point of saying you got to hold out hope for talent at always point, and just don't give up?
Yeah, so a couple of things here. First, Samaje Perine is going to touch the ball a lot this week, so there's that. But, yeah, I think the talent certainly was always there he didn't play Power 5 competition at the college level, but you could see a rare combination of size and speed for the position at the college level. There was a reason why he was a first-round talent. Now, of course, he stepped into a situation where Chris Carson just simply was a better player at that time, like better NFL player. You can be a very talented individual and then go out there and this kid, who, by the way, Chris Carson, really athletic as well coming into the league, but didn't have the same billing in terms of draft pedigree. But regardless, he's better in pass pro. If he does all the things the coaches want him to do, he's going to play. But then we finally saw it ramp up, and, of course, the issues of injury. Now, Pete Carroll had said heading into this season, this is a crucial year for him. And I think he did solidify himself for next year because we don't know what Chris Carson's future ultimately is going to be. Now, obviously, he's still under contract, but he's getting up there in age. The injuries are starting to mount up, and we could see a changing of the guard here where Carson still is used, but it's now more Penny in the lead. The bigger question, though, for Seattle is can you move the football? Because who is your quarterback going to be? Is it going to be Geno, or are you going to go out and make a move? Because it's probably not going to be Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I think that's a big question on that, although he said he thinks he's coming back. He said he doesn't see why he shouldn't come back. By the way, I had resorted by yards before contact just to give you an idea, to clarify. So, yeah, actually, Derrick Henry was 15, and Kareem Hunt was 12. So you had two guys just outside the top 10. So, by the way, yeah, I sorted by yards before contact just out of curiosity. But so there you go. By the way, Tony Pollard, the best running back of all time, number 8,
yes.
Just to throw that.
True.
Of course. So let's go to this one, Jeff. The top 5, well, actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's actually, you could get 7 names on this one because there's 3 guys tied for 4th and 2 guys tied for 5th. Running backs, and there's going to be some of the stuff for wide receivers and quarterbacks and tight ends. We're going to do this in the offseason too because there are some things that we'll pull over to next year. Goal to go attempts. The leaders in goal to go attempts. No minimum rushes, obviously, because it just matters if you get the goal to go attempt.
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor, by the way, destroyed this. 38. Yeah. The next closest was 24.
Ezekiel Elliott has to be up there.
Ezekiel Elliott, no, just missed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. Who else would be up there? There's a couple names that I think are weird up there, right?
There are. There's a mix of real names and weird names.
The one that I'm thinking of that I'm like, really, this guy? Leonard Fournette, is he up there?
Leonard Fournette is tied with. Oh, I almost said the other person's name. Is actually tied with 20 in 5th place.
Okay, Leonard Fournette. I'm trying to think. There's a weird name, and it's.
If anybody's watching the video, I just pointed to something that would have given you a hint.
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook is tied for 4th with
James
2 other
Conner.
guys. There you go. I pointed to the Kyler Murray jersey where you weren't looking. He is number 2, 24, even with missed time. 24.
Even with missed time. David Montgomery.
No, that's your second strike. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 names left.
Can't be that one. That's not a one. That's not a thing. Oh man. Geez, I'll probably get this one wrong.
Okay, I'll give you a big hint.
Okay.
Nobody wanted him because his offensive line stinks.
Oh, Najee Harris.
There you go, 22. Okay. And then let's see.
Because there's got to be.
The other 3 are big
just
names.
Running backs, right?
Yes. Yeah. The other 3 are big names here.
Big names.
They are all top 15 running backs. Don't look at the chat.
I'm not. I'm thinking. The wheels are turning.
Mr. Nice Guy and Mike got him right. Yeah, here's a giant hint. Mr. Nice Guy misspelled the name for the last name.
Misspelled the last name?
A lot of people misspell his last name. If I move to one side,
Sony Michel?
No.
They misspelled his last name like crazy.
I know. They put a C in his name. Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler had 21. Joe Mixon had 21. Antonio Gibson had 20. So these names again, and this is where the question's going. Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Najee Harris, Austin Eckler, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Leonard Fournette, Antonio Gibson. Of course, how many people expected Fournette or James Conner? But here's the question I have for you, Jeff, is if you notice, these are all Barkley's upset about this, is all top 15 running backs is where they are. is this a testament to attack high-scoring offenses for running backs, and maybe that should carry more value in fantasy than pure talent alone?
I mean, that's part of it, but it's also still opportunity because you could have attacked Chase Edmonds and you would have been wrong, right? So we have to identify those short yardage backs for sure. And I think it, in a lot of ways, is just a testament to how important those couple stats are. Touchdowns are the least predictive stat. That's why it always drives me nuts, especially the way we score team defense, that how valuable they are, but even how valuable they are for running backs, wide receivers, and especially tight ends. But the one way that we really can get at it is effectively using red zone stats. Goal line carries, so carries inside the 5, that's key. But not red zone targets. Red zone targets are stupid. You hear me? Oh, the line of scrimmage was at the 20. It's a red zone target. If it's at the 21, no red zone targets. It's all about end zone throws and end zone targets, right? Yeah. It's no coincidence that the players who score the most receiving touchdowns tend to be the players who are targeted the most in the end zone. Likewise, the quarterbacks who throw the most touchdown passes tend to be those who throw the ball to the end zone more.
Yep.
So focus in on those stats. Now, they're pretty sticky year over year. You get guys like Andrew Luck was always great with that. He would fire the ball to the end zone. Russell Wilson historically is very good with that. Big Ben historically very good with that. Matt Ryan historically not good with that. So
it doesn't even look at people. That's why.
Oh man, Kyle Pitts.
We broke it down 2 weeks. Actually, Pat, credit again. Wants a credit to Pat Mayo, who's the one that broke it down. As he galaxy brains himself, he goes to like the 4th option in the red zone because he's like, nobody's going to expect this. Yeah. No, exactly. Lee Smith. Nobody's going to expect Lee Smith to have a touchdown. So I actually did that as well, as I broke down an article of the difference between red zone versus end zone. And one is that it's very close. You could actually do within the 5 and end zone, because once you get in the 5, a lot of those end up turning into touchdowns anyway, I found out. So
unless you were Calvin Johnson that one year when he was tackled on the one,
the opposite, where he's like at the 1 every single time. All right. Last one for you. Yes, Mr. Nice Guy, volume is king. I got to get a Brandon Cooks, the volume king, being that this year. But here's the last one. The leading top 5, actually top 6, because 2 are tied here, top 6 in receptions for running backs.
Najee Harris has to be up there.
Was number 1.
70?
70.
Yeah.
70. I was a little surprised by that.
Kamara,
and I'm a Najee guy. There? Nope, Kamara didn't actually even make this cut.
Wow. Why do you have fallen? Eckler?
Yes, number 3 at 65.
Some of the pass catching backs didn't catch a lot of passes this year.
I know. That's
tricky.
Why this is an interesting list.
And then you have like weird backfields like the Patriots. I'm like going through the backfields in my head, and it's like the Patriots have that weird split. Man, oh man, this one is a tricky one. How about, man, I keep going to different teams. I'm like, nope,
the chat's doing a good job today.
Josh Jacobs, did he get up there towards the end?
Josh Jacobs tied for 5th at 52.
And that all happened basically post Gruden. If you
100%.
take from when Gruden left, he's got to be
you're jumping my question. That was actually one of my questions. I was going to ask you about Josh Jacobs for next year. There you go. So we'll come back to the rest of the list.
Okay.
Don't look at the chat.
I won't. I never do. I never do.
So the Josh Jacobs thing, because remember last year, and it happened again this year, is like at the beginning of the season, it's like, oh my God, Josh Jacobs, they're using him in the passing game. And then, but you mentioned it, is you said most of it came after no Gruden. So Josh Jacobs, as of right now, again, free agency, blah, blah, blah. But is Josh Jacobs going to be in the back end RB1 conversation because he's now a true bell cow?
There's one factor that we'll need to know, because it won't be Rich Bisaccia as the head coach unless they win the Super Bowl or something, which I guess you can't rule out. They need to play their way in. Obviously, they have the win and get in scenario, which that's awesome. I'm looking forward to Sunday night. Derek Carr has had a heck of a season, so anything can happen. Anything can happen. But who do they get in? And how does that coach view this player? Coming into the league, I honestly thought that he was sort of, maybe the way that Eckler is being used and has been used, not a Duke Johnson, not a 90-carry Giovanni Bernard 90-carry, 50-catch guy, but like 150, 170-carry 50 catch guy. That's what I thought he was going to be. And then Gruden's like, no, 2 down back, right? Like 25 carries and no catches. That's not him. That's not him. And now they're finally using him basically as a true 3 down back, which is even better.
They're using him as what you just said for your comparison was the guy I was going to compare him to, who he's tied with at number 5 that you haven't mentioned yet.
David Montgomery?
No.
Is Montgomery up there?
No, he's not.
That's interesting. Yeah, they didn't use him as much in the passing game this year.
No.
Not Jonathan. Jonathan Taylor doesn't have enough receptions to be up there.
Yeah, one more strike.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man, Chris Ellis just got the person I was comparing him to, who's tied with him. Man, you guys are on fire today. Congratulations, by the way, if you won your championships. I'm seeing all your thank yous in here. And there was somebody who's, yes, congratulations for the 1 and 2. Yes, we appreciate it again. We celebrated ourselves at the beginning of the show. Aaron Jones, 52.
Aaron Jones. What's Ezekiel Elliott at? Because his receptions have tailed off big time over the last couple of weeks.
I could pull it up. I'll go back.
He's not in there. He's not in there, right?
No, you missed number 2, Leonard Fournette.
Of course I did, because why would that even exist in my head?
And then sandwiched between Eckler, Jones, and Jacobs. Despite missing time, significant time, Deandre Swift at 58.
Wow.
Zeke had 46. Wow. He was 6 behind them.
Yeah, that's true. Swift in the beginning of the season was basically a wide receiver. With he would, 6, 7, 8 catches, just automatic. That was crazy. Wow.
And so that's the one more I wanted to stick on before we got out of here was the DeAndre Swift thing is I got pushback from somebody last week and they're like, man, I just thought it was crazy that everybody had him inside the top 15 and 20. I was like, look, I even had him at 18 or 19 and I was one of the low people on DeAndre Swift. But, with something that you and I talked about before, Jeff, is like if 1 or 2 beat reporters are saying something, we're kind of like, all right, we'll look into it. Everybody who covered this team was saying DeAndre Swift was going back into the lead. Everybody. There wasn't one person out there that said, we don't believe it. Granted, we on this very show last week were saying, all right, maybe it'll be like 50, 55% of the work if he's back into the lead. Neither of us expected it to be bell cow work, but what would value DeAndre Swift, and we talked about it in relation to Amon-Ra St. Brown, is that the passing game work. So again, as we get out of here, a future look ahead of 2022, we're going to be doing a lot of that this offseason. DeAndre Swift, this is the one I'm going to throw at you. DeAndre Swift versus Josh Jacobs for 2022. Make that call right now. Give us a sneak preview of your rankings, which comes out later today. Make sure everybody goes checks him out, follows him at Jeff Ratcliffe. DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, who you got for 2022?
Now I have to check who I have. I literally did this.
I've done that before too, where I'm like,
Swift. I do have Swift ahead. It's close.
How far?
Right now, I have Swift 4 spots ahead. I'm gonna still have Jacobs because of the uncertainty as a front end RB2. I have Swift at 11. So a couple things really quickly before we get out of here. First and foremost, don't hindsight yourself to death with rankings. If everybody thought it and you thought it too, that's cool. If you did not think it, instead of arguing with Jake, instead of arguing with me, just do what you want. We're here giving you what we think. The thing that drives me nuts. Do you care to explain why you have this player ranked here? Like, just play whoever you want. It's
I don't mind can you explain why you like this person more than this person? I'll say this is like, one is the way that you just phrased it. And the other one is this one is like, you have Swift at 18 thoughts. Well, I was like, I have lots. Like, what are you looking for?
One spot behind 17. The other one too, that does get me, cause there's a couple, is what am I missing? Right? Like, bro, there's no nice way of saying. You're never nice when you say that. You always come off like a passive-aggressive a-hole, so just don't say it.
Look at this. We get out of here on the last ranking show of the year by insulting all of you people. Hey, Jeff is number 1. He can do whatever the hell he wants. Number 2, I'll still be a little bit nice to you guys. Please make sure you're following Jeff. We'll be back next week. Well, we'll be back with a mix. It'll be every Wednesday going forward, 2 p.m., once a week. Around draft time, free agency, we'll have 2 or 3 shows, but it's once a week going forward. Rotation of Jeff, Meanie, Lauren. It will be here for you. Again, congratulations. Big up to Jeff. Number 1 is the most accurate ranking show in the history forever because I was 2, but Jeff was 1. We'll see you guys later.